Thank you all for coming. If I could ask you guys to please silence your cell phones. Service should be starting in the next couple of minutes. Continue to enjoy the slideshow. We will turn it off shortly just to pause it for the service. Thank you for coming.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are on service time. If I can remind everyone, please turn off your cell phones for the service. We begin with Psalm 23, Mizmar David. Adonai roi lo yachzor benos deshi arbitzeni al mei menuchas yinaleni. Nafshi shaviran cheni v'maglei tzedek l'man shemo gam ki elach v'getz amaves. Lo yirara ki ato imodi shivtcha mishantecha im yenachamuni. Tarech lefonai shulchan neged tzoreroi dishanto v'shem en roishi koisi revaya. Ach toi v'chesed yerdofuni kol yemei chayoi v'shavti beveis Adonai li'orech yomim. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He revives my soul. He directs me in the path of the righteous for the sake of his name. Even if I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You will prepare a table before my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup is full. Only goodness and kindness shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord for many long years. Good morning. My name is Yossi Sarabransky. I play a rabbi in life. And I met Barry and Toots when they decided to get married. And they never came for a refund. And I consider them my teachers in life. If you were preparing a Colorado day for a funeral, you would say, sunny, 75 degrees, nah, let's make it cloudy, the chance of a storm. Let's get a rabbi who looks a little unkempt, central casting, and let's put it together. We're going to hear about Toots. And she was Toots. But what did I learn from her? And that is something that I want to share. There's a fellow who I hate, and not just because he was an anti-Semite. His name was Walt Disney. Walt Disney sold the biggest lie to America, and they lived happily ever after. Because there is no one alive who has easy street. Everyone's got tsuris. The question is how we pick ourselves up and move on. And what I learned from Toots is that when life deals you from the bottom of the deck, the worst cards and the worst hand you could possibly have, and you have every reason to end up at the intersection of I-25 and Orchard with a placard that says, "We'll work for food." She found Barry. Well, the truth is Barry found her. Well, that's for the Shiva. And she chose to be joyful. She chose to smile. And it's no accident that her life revolved around the theater, because theater is about getting into character. It's about being in character and being present at that moment. And I hear the stories of people when they're at their bottom. But if you know Toots, she developed a taste for roller coasters. Slowly, 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 and then whee off. And honestly, if age wouldn't have caught up with her, she'd still be there. So I want to invite Barbara Nieder, who is a fantastic friend and will say a few words. We will have 4 short hespedim, 4 short eulogies after that from the children, and save your good stories for the reception at the Shiva. That's when everyone will get their chance. So enter stage right, no, was it left? I'm not sure.
Good morning, good sad morning to all of you this morning. My name is Barbara Nieder, a very dear, dear friend of Toots Siegal Manus for over 50 years. I know Toots Lucille will be remembered and honored this morning and during these days for many wonderful reasons. But I'm standing in front of all of you today to represent all of the ladies of the Children's Traveling Theater of the National Council of Jewish Women, Denver section. Our Tootsie entered, as you do many times, stage right, and played a major role for 60 years or more. I'm not sure of the timing, but I will say that. Along with her mother, Mary Jacobs of blessed memory, who was a founding person of the Children's Traveling Theater along with others. And along with 50 or many, many more actors, I see Norma in the audience here, we brought live theater with Toots to thousands of children across the Denver and surrounding area. These children may never had the opportunity to see a real production or live theater. She was our star. She possessed a combination of talent, songs, dance, direction, and creation of more than 40, 50 skits and shows and fairy tale-like productions. Her joy and dedication in teaching and performing was unending. Every Tuesday morning, myself, Norma, and some others maybe here who were in the Children's Traveling Theater would don our makeup, our costumes, our schlepping scenery even to schools in and around the area, and our lines sometimes written in the palm of our hands, but don't tell anyone that. And we entertained children who absolutely adored what we did and whose smiles said it all. I can tell you that at the end of many of our shows, there would be a lineup of little kids wanting our autographs, but mainly Toots, who played everything from Rapunzel to Snow White to Sleeping Beauty, and of course, Dorothy with her beautiful voice in The Wizard of Oz. Tootsie will be remembered as a beautiful, talented actor who loved what she did for these children. I speak for all of us who are so grateful for having worked on a stage with our tiny, petite, powerful friend and actor. We all loved your energy, Tootsie. You even told me about 6, 7 weeks ago when I visited you in a rehab that we need to go out again. We could pick Tuesday or Wednesday. And I said, Tootsie, I can't wake up that early anymore and be on the road by 7:30 to go to a school 20 miles away. But she also wanted to write a new show. And she said, I'll make it a little easier. We will miss our star. You're a bright light above now in heaven. And we will hold that light in our hearts forever. And the happiness you brought to all the children she touched. Keep dancing, dear Tootsie, as you exit stage left. We will love and miss you forever. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd like to ask Ruben Manis to come up and share his words.
Hi, good morning. I'm Ruben. I am Barry's oldest son, and I didn't prepare a script, so this is going to be a little improvised, but I did want to share 3 things that I love about Toots. The first has been mentioned, but it's going to be a running theme for this whole time, is her musicality. And one of the most fun things anytime we all got together was, and this would happen every time, eventually I would get on the piano, start playing songs, and Toots would show up pretty quickly, be right there singing along, knowing every word to the songs we played. And we played Fiddler on the Roof, we played musicals, we played some Disney songs. Sorry, Rabbi. She was right there, knew it, knew the words, knew the chorus, knew the bridge, and it was so fun. And the brightness in her eyes was just constant. So I just love those moments, and we'll remember them forever. The second thing I love about Toots, out of many things, but these are the top 3. The second thing is her sense of adventure, and we heard about the roller coasters. My wife and I were fortunate enough to go with Toots and my dad to Mexico just in January. And the idea of parasailing came up. And guess who went parasailing? All four of us. We had Dad and Toots go first just to make sure that everything, but there she was up in the high, up in the sky. She was down for whatever. She was down for the adventures. And it was amazing. It was amazing. And then finally, my third thing that I love most about Toots was the companionship that she brought my dad. And after our parents divorced, they had us in common, which was great, the children, but their interests were clearly very different. And when Dad met Toots, it was like, boom, okay, here is a perfect match for a life companion. And like he just said to me yesterday, we did everything together. And they did. And they went on trips and they went on to shows. Their entertainment calendar was exhausting just to hear about. But they spent all that time together and just happily and did so many things. And it was so fun to hear about. And I'm just so happy that she was there for my dad and that they were, that couple together. So there are many other things about Toots, but those were my top three that I wanted to share. And we'll miss you, Toots, and we love you.
Well, not to state the obvious, but Toots was always happiest when she was laughing. Think about that for a second. I guess that maybe goes for all of us. But laugh she did. I was very fortunate to be in Colorado. I live in Chicago. I'm Zach, by the way. Second eldest in the Barry litany. I was in Colorado when she came home from the hospital for the final time, and I was able to spend a few incredible days with her. One of the days, I was sitting bedside with her, just me and her in the room, and she starts talking about a little bit of everything. A squirrel runs by, and she's laughing about the squirrel, and and I'm laughing, and she's laughing, and her laughter makes me laugh, and my laughter makes her laugh. And she gets around to talking about this big furry dog that my dad had bought. It's like 5.5 foot tall. It's a huge, fuzzy dog. And she tells me the story about going to the grocery store, and my dad has his dog, and he's like, we're getting this. We are getting this. And Toots is like, why are we getting that? And my dad needed the dog. So the dog sits in the corner, and the dog is bringing Toots all of this joy and laughter. And then Toots starts talking a little bit about how she always had dogs growing up. She always had dogs her whole life until she met my dad. My dad said, no, I don't want a dog. She expressed some regret, like, oh, we never got to have a dog once I met Barry. I got to thinking about what dogs are good for. Jordan's got an amazing dog, Journey. Right? Yeah, Journey wakes Jordan up in the morning. Let's go. It's time to get up and it's time to go. It's time to get out of the house and have an adventure. Every day at 3 o'clock, the boys are coming home on the school bus. Dog's at the door. Let's go. We got to go pick up the kids. We got to get outside. We got to have an adventure. So it seems to me that you don't need a dog if you have a bear. My dad, Barry. He's our Papa Bear. The latest Broadway show is coming to Colorado. Let's go. The biggest roller coaster is opening on the other side of the world. Let's go. The biggest cruise ship on the planet is sailing its maiden voyage. Let's go. Let's do this. They had so many adventures together. And Toots and her adventurous spirit said yes every time. Every time. Parasailing. Inner tubing in the cave tubing. Is that what we were talking about in the limo? The ride over? So how does it happen? How does it happen that these two people meet each other in such a big world? I don't know how it happens, but it did. It happened. Two people who have adventures through life all over the world, full throttle, full speed ahead. It happened. They happened, and we can celebrate that. And to close, I would just like to say a quote from one of my favorite authors of all time, Dr. Seuss. Don't feel sad that it's over. Be happy that it happened. We're all happy that Toots happened and happened in our lives. So here's to Toots, here's to my dad, and here's to adventure. Thank you.
I'd like to call up Susie Glick, who's the only person who had a mother-daughter relationship with Toots, to share reflections on your mother's life.
Oh, just come up if you see me fall apart. So I'm the crier of the family. And of course, my mom. So I'm just going to keep my head down and read so I can attempt to get through this. Okay, Mom, I will never fully be able to express how much I adore and love you. You have always been and will always be my greatest support, my biggest cheerleader, and my protector. I have always known that you have been watching out for me, no matter what crazy decision I was making. You have also always been there to catch me when I inevitably fell. You have taught me how to laugh. You told me to always keep laughing, and that message has got me through my life thus far. You have really taught me everything except math, because really nobody could teach me math. You have taught me how to have a sense of humor and make light of things, but be serious when needed. You have taught me common sense and how to read people. You have taught me self-sufficiency and how to be independent. You have taught me sensitivity and tenderness. I've learned from you how to be a good wife. I learned how to be a good parent and treat my kids with admiration and value, because that's how you treated me. I always knew I was loved, and I felt it every single day of my life. You taught me appreciation for religion and how to incorporate it in my life. You taught me to love animals, especially dogs, and how to treat them as part of the family. You taught me strength. You are the strongest person that I know. I watched you go through the death of a child, something no parent should ever have to do, and you did it with grace and with honor. You taught me respect and responsibility. You taught me to enjoy life and look for the positive humor in all situations. If I can have half of your get up and go and positive attitude, I will live a fortunate life. For you, I am forever grateful. There is no one in this world that I would have picked to be my mom other than you. I am blessed to have been lucky enough to have you. I got the pick of the litter. Thank you for being the best mom ever and for showing me how to be me and not worry about the rest. I will forever love you. I love you, your favorite daughter, And since I'm the only daughter, I feel like I can say that. Very.
All right, well, I will wrap up. I wasn't a crier until watching Susie, so I may be crying also. So I'm Scott Siegal. I'm Toots's eldest son. We all know that life is finite and eventually that this time would come, but it's still hard to fathom. First, I'd like to thank all of you for coming out to bid Mom farewell from this world and wish her well in whatever realm she has entered. She was a special person and touched all of us. Before I go on, I would like everybody to think of 3 words to describe Mom, kind of a common theme today. Although I can think of many, including loving, fun, steadfast, affectionate, considerate, thoughtful, and resourceful, 3 that I will share with you are persevering, creative, and adventurous. First, persevering. Early in Mom's married life, she and my dad struggled to make ends meet. Eventually, we did well, moved into a bigger house, and we prospered. Adversity struck, however, when the business went bankrupt and we lost everything. My parents separated and Mom went back to work teaching elementary school. Additionally, she went back to school, earned her master's in education and theater, and stopped just short of her doctorate. To make things worse, she also dealt with the death of her middle son, my brother, when he was about 50 years old. Eventually, she met Barry, and together adventures began. Those of you who knew Mom saw the results of their relentless pursuits, and she and Barry thrived for the last 35 years. The next term is creative. Again, those of you who know Mom witnessed her creativeness firsthand. As a kid, I remember always playing and laughing with her as she made up new games and activities for us. Most notably, Mom loved theater. From a young age, she wrote, directed, acted in, and produced between 40 and 50 plays and musicals. Before having original music written for her plays, she would rewrite words to familiar show tunes. And honestly, to this day, Susie and I do not know the real words to many familiar songs. Mom also loved acting. I know that she and many of you here today mesmerized children year after year performing plays for the Denver Public School children. You heard this from Barbara Nieder. I think Mom's favorite role was Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. I found this a fitting role since Dorothy was considered a courageous princess with a kind heart who always helped her friends out of danger. The last term I'll detail is adventurous. Mom loved to travel and would try almost anything, except maybe pork. She and Barry traveled all over the world. In general, they would take about 4 to 5 trips a year. And Barry told me this week that they took 34 cruises in the 35 years they were together. They also belonged to a roller coaster organization, which you had heard about also, and traveled all over the country, visiting amusement parks and riding all of the rides. I'll tell you, she definitely knew how to have fun. As you might imagine, I could talk about Mom forever, but we'll wrap things up with a final thought. I walked through Mom's house the other day and came across a picture of Bugs Bunny on the wall above her desk. Although I have no idea what happens to us after we die, I would like to think that Mom is starting new adventures. As such, I thought of the Bugs Bunny Show theme song. It's upbeat, and I think Mom would like us to think of her in an upbeat manner. Although I cannot sing very well, the words that stuck out to me in my head were, orchestra, curtain lights, this is it, we'll hit the heights. And oh, what heights we'll hit. On with the show, this is it. We'll miss you, Mom. 1 second.
So when I first met Mary and Toots, she asked me, so really, Rabbi, well, what do you do for a living? And I said, I sell afterlife insurance. Everyone buys life insurance. Well, I do the afterlife insurance. We have a very rich tradition. And on Friday night, we sing Shalom Aleichem. We're welcoming in angels. So the Talmud tells us that in life, there are two angelic beings that follow us around. And they record everything we do. One angel, in the imagery used, will prosecute us at the end of life for everything we've done wrong. And the other angel will put forth a defense of why our life made a difference. Another way of thinking of it is we have these heavenly beings. One is a star and one is a black hole. Same energy. When you meet people, how do you know if they're a star? How do you know if they're a black hole? You wait till you leave their presence. If you feel, as they say in Yiddish, like an ausgewebte Schmappe, you feel like somebody, a vampire has come and sucked the soul out of you, you just met a black hole. When you leave a conversation feeling better about yourself, then you have just been in the presence of a sun, a star. What a blessing that her life has been. So now if we could please rise as we finish off the Hespedim over here before we go to the cemetery for internment. Ele mole rachamim, shoichein meroimim, ham tzeimenu chanochoin al kanfei ashechino, memahalois, hakedoishim otohoidim kezoyer horakia, mazhirin es nishmas, Leah bas Shimon shal chuloi lama, Bavushe not would about Askoras Nishmasa, began Eden Tehim Unuchasa, Lochein Bal Horachamim, Yastireho Beseser Knofov Lioilamim, Vitzroir Bitzroir Hachaimes Nishmasa, Adoinoi Hunachalosa, Betonu Achamishkava Beshalom, Venomar Amen. O God, full of compassion, who dwells on high, grant true rest upon the wings of the Shekhinah, the divine present, in the exalted spheres of the holy and the pure, who shine as the radiance of the firmament to the soul of Leah bat Shimon, who has gone to her supernal world. Charitable acts will be made in her memory. May her place of rest be in the Garden of Eden. Therefore, may the All-Merciful One shelter her with the cover of his wings forever, and bind her soul in the bound of life. The Lord is her heritage. May she rest in her resting place in peace. And let us say, Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, that does conclude our service here at Feldman Mortuary. We will have an escorted procession to Mount Nebo Cemetery. So if you'd like to join us in the procession, we'll ask you to return to your cars as quickly as possible. Have your headlights on and your hazards on. Those hazards will identify you as a participant in our procession. We are going to be pulling out of the parking lot using the east lane of southbound of York Street for the procession. Those who are not going to the cemetery, as you can tell with the way that you are parked, you have to leave too. So we're going to ask you to use the west lanes of York Street and don't have your hazards on because the escorts are going to try to get you into that line. So we will ask everyone to return to their cars as quickly as possible. The biggest favor to ask is please refrain from coming forward and trying to speak with a family. It will delay their process of getting to the cemetery. After the cemetery, the family is going to welcome you at the home of Toots and Barry at 6570 East Mansfield Avenue. They'll be there this afternoon immediately following the service until about 5 p.m., Monday from 12 noon to 4 p.m., and Tuesday from 4 to 7. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attendance.